Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. There's online.Scott selections here for Sunday, December 4th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap what happened yesterday. Overall, pretty mediocre day. Basically broke even. Starting off with the good news, did go 2-1 in the college football show from a couple days ago. Had Michigan minus 16.5. That one had Southern Jackson State under 50.5. That lost pretty easily. And then we also had North Dakota State minus 6.5 at minus 110. And that won easily. And I believe that line closed at 9. Didn't really matter what number you got it at. North Dakota State won the game by double digits, really never in doubt. But we did lose in the YouTube pick yesterday with Dos Anjos by decision at minus 111 in the UFC card. We were right about Dos Anjos taking down Barberena at will. However, we did kind of overestimate Barberena's submission defense, and he eventually lost via submission in the second round. So overall, went 2-2 for negative 0.18 units, basically broke even, and look for a winning day here on Sunday. And for today's play, they're going to pivot and talk about the NFL. We're going to go to a two-team 6-point teaser. One game's going to be taking place at 1 p.m. Other's going to take place at 4. So we're going to start off with the early game, but this two-pick teaser does pay out at minus 115 on Bet Online. Starting off with the first pick is going to be in the matchup between the Ravens and the Broncos. And for this game, going to take the under 45.5. We're going to tease that, of course, up 6 points. And a couple reasons why I like the under in this spot. First reason, Denver's been really just an under-better's dream so far this season. Great defensively, awful offensively, dead last, actually, in points per game. But Denver has been involved in a lot of low-scoring games as a result, as 10 of Denver's first 11 games have had less than 39 points. And Denver has scored less than 17 points in 9 of its first 11 games. Plus, Denver defensively, I mentioned how good they are, but to go through the numbers, Denver is only allowing 17.6 points per game, which ranks 4th in the league. Baltimore, though, a bit underrated defensively in terms of points allowed because Baltimore is allowing 20.6 points per game, which ranks 12th. But Denver has been involved in a lot of really ugly football games. We know Russell Wilson is basically cooked or battling an injury or all the above. We know the defense as a whole for Denver has been really solid all season long, and I do think they should result in another low-scoring game throughout this contest. But Baltimore's also been involved in a decent amount of low-scoring games lately, as 6 of Baltimore's last 8 games have had less than 45 points, and Baltimore also has scored less than 28 points in each of its last 8 games. So Baltimore's offense has been a little bit iffy for the most part. Now, they, of course, want to run the ball. They've had a couple of injuries to their ground core, but I know Gus Edwards came back last week. They should be mostly healthy. And Denver does have some issues stopping the run. So I do think that Baltimore should have some success running the ball. However, that should eat up a lot of clock because Baltimore does run at one of the slowest paces in the league, and Baltimore is top 3 in time of possession. So I do think that Baltimore might score, but they might take up a bunch of clock, and I do think that should limit the number of possessions for both teams in this matchup. But there's a couple ways for this to go under. Either Baltimore's offense struggles against Denver's good defense, which should result in a lower scoring game. Denver's offense is so bad that it ends up just dragging the whole total down, or you meet somewhere in the middle and you end up just having a rock fight where it ends up turning into some type of like 16-10 game or something like that. If I had to guess the score, I'll go with Baltimore 24, Denver 13, but I do think 45.5 with the Broncos being involved is way too high, so I'll gladly take the under as the first pick. And for the second pick, going to take Seattle -1 in their matchup against the Rams. Going to not really spend much time on this because it's pretty self-explanatory. The Rams are extremely injured, and they're also terrible. And you could argue they really don't do anything well because in addition to missing Stafford, missing Cooper Kupp, missing Allen Robinson, and some other guys who have been absent just in terms of depth pieces, they're also missing Aaron Donald for this game. And we know Donald is one of, if not the best defensive players in the league. He is single-handedly just a one-man wrecking crew in the defensive line. Also really good at stopping the run. And with him being out, Seattle's offense should really have a field day in this matchup. You're looking at Seattle's offense, which has been very good lately, as the Seahawks have scored at least 27 points in 4 of their last 5 games. Plus, Seattle should be very motivated for this game because unlike the Rams, they still have a shot at the playoffs, and they did lose a heartbreaker to the Raiders in overtime last week. So you can argue this is basically must-win territory, and they have one of the easier cupcake opponents on their schedule left in this matchup, also a division rival. So you have an extra incentive to really rub it in against a team that you've kind of had problems with in the past. But the point is Seattle is really in desperate need of a win here. And with the Rams missing everybody, using a backup quarterback in Wolford, and really just being awful in terms of pass protection, they have no receivers left. You're looking at the secondary. Jalen Ramsey's still playing. If you go through the advanced numbers, Ramsey's kind of been awful this year, and nobody's really talking about it. But the Rams really don't do much well. And now that Donald's out as well, I think the defense will take a step back. But Seattle's offense should be really, really dialed in for this matchup. And I think they should win this game pretty comfortably. And as a result, that's going to be the second pick of this teaser. So once again, the 2-team 6-point teaser will be the Ravens and Broncos under 45.5 and the Seahawks -1. And that 2 pick, once again, it pays out at -115 on Bet Online. Bye, everyone.